this video. I wanted to make a video on this for a while, but finally decided to take a little time. Before we start, it's your little disclaimer. Fair use, research purposes, educating content. Just trying to open our minds to broader horizons. Let's get back to it. As y'all know, if y'all can see in the picture what that represents. Tower, Babel. One of those great stories that we hear about. Like many stories, one thing we still don't know is its location. Something that was so mighty that it caught God's eye, that he had to separate all the people to different tongues. I mean, do you think something like that would be like was that place they got over in the Middle East that they found in Iran or Iraq? I mean, because that place was kind of small. Or do you think it would be a little something bigger? Especially if you're somebody, thinking yourself as a god and you trying to mock God. You're not going to make some small temple, are you? I wouldn't, but, I wouldn't want to test the creator like that because it don't end well for that person. But we'll cover that later. Gotta get into some juicy stuff. I've been to Canada a few times. Hey, they talk about them, especially in movies, the comedies, about their accent, how they talk. And we know during the colonizing times that the British, they like to hang out up in New England. So, instead of going with the narrative that you've been taught, just dig on it, do a little research. You got this place in Ontario called London. Records from 1869 indicate a population of about 18,000, served by 3 newspapers, churches of all major denominations, and offices of all the major banks. Looks like they had a nice little town going. Industries, several tanneries, oil refineries, foundries, 4 flour mills, brewing company, both the Great Western and Grand Trunk Railways had stops there, so, they had the shops, they had the alcohol, they probably had the women too, so nice little town, supplies going in and out, waterway, railway. Several insurance companies also had offices in the city. The Crystal Palace Barracks, an octagonal brick building with 8 doors and 48 windows, built in 1861, was used for events such as the Provincial Agricultural Fair of Canada West, held in London that year. So it's kind of tied into all those great fairs that they went around to all the different countries around the world and kind of marvelized what they said about the different technologies and all this type stuff, but when you start to really look at history, other than what we've been told, you can clearly put the pieces together. It's not hard, but those were just the spoils of war, so those were just the fairs was them just going, there to decide what they was going to keep and not keep, and what the new empire was going to look like, so they can call it AKA Freemasonry. But I did some digging on that Crystal Palace Barracks. I think I got some pictures on it. Let me look at it later. Okay, yeah. London, this is London, England. Largest city of England, United Kingdom. Londinium. So you already know about them and what's going on with them there. But Boudica, the rediscover of Tacitus' works revealed English interest in the Boudica, particularly during the 19th century, so in 1800s. So that's the same time frame of around the great fairs that's going around the world. So they find this statue, which was supposed to be a symbol for Queen Victoria, And I just kind of find that ironic how, you got a statue it's supposed to be a symbolized for a queen, and it's happened to be rediscovered around the same time that they have a place in the new world of America called London, also, that they also doing a fair, and they got a bustling city going on. So, we touch on that later. But let's get up here. Yeah, so these, I went to Google, did a little Google search for the Crystal Palace Barracks, looking for pictures of the one in Ontario. And when we popped up, they had the Crystal Palace Barracks, London. And then in some of the pictures of the Crystal Palace Barracks, they have the Crystal Palace of what we think would be in London. As we all know, that's what it looked like. So was this in London, in Ontario? Like, it was this mighty fine story, something like this. I don't see why it's not still here, because it's amazing, especially around the turn of the century. Y'all just started just America just got founded not too prior, in your words, in your history. But, this would be like a structure that you would kind of want to keep around, kind of preserve. And I know if you dig into the history a little bit, they talk about how the dates with the expedition, one was 51, one was 61. I think the one in Ontario was built, they say, in 61. So they say it was tore down and moved. One of them was tore down and moved. And then later down the road, it caught fire and burned down. And it's just like, now what would make more sense is if you found it, it was spoils of war, and then you wanted to take some of the stuff and then start that whole new city in a different part of the world. So then that would give you the cost for the movement, turn it down after the fair and moving it, aka, and allowing you to start a new city. Because you have different things all over these cities like London and the Vatican and Rome and stuff like that, like Egyptian obelisks, and it's just like, why are y'all taking these and then put them up in your city if y'all are not of that, so-called religion or whatever? Just fruit for thought, just thinking. It's not against the law to think yet, but here's another good picture. It's just amazing, beautiful. Like, why don't we build like this today? If we could do this, during a time when everybody is at war, you know, discovering new lands, starting towns. And it's just like, it amazes me how we can do all of that, start governments, make laws, all of that at the same time and build these amazing, amazing structures. And yet all we can do now since the 1900s is war, 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 war. We can't produce nothing like of this quality. We don't build to this quality. You look at the houses, paper. You look at our money, paper. So it was like, the time before this, the money was valuable. Gold, silver, coins. The buildings were quality, structure. And it was like all of that got wiped out to give us fake. Monopoly. Play-Doh. But let's start getting into some good juicy stuff. Because once you start to understand who you are, where you come from, and where you're going, then things start to make sense. They've been in so-called power this time, in control of this earthly plane, and yet they have produced nothing but war and destruction. They have done nothing but go across this earth trying to find where they come from, but yet they find the same people. They try to mix in with the people, try to get the people to forget who they are, to try to convert them into their ways, to being killers, lacking of love, not want to help each other. It's just crazy. Because when you understand what this place is, everything is easily makes sense. And it's just like, for all this destruction and this oppression of the people, it makes no sense. Only of lower life forms, people of low ego. Those are the type of people that will want to rule people. To kill the whole earth of all the food, the poison the water, the poison the air. To kill the people, the indigenous people. You gotta be a low spirit. Nothing good about you. And yet that's the image of those people that they push in the world today. And it's crazy, it's because it's like the whole world is against the indigenous people. The whole world's against life. That's the kind of way you feel when you look around and all the destruction. But now, life is coming back. Life is coming back. Life is always going to be. Life always prevails. Life always prevails. At the darkness comes light. Once that light came on, it was meant to stay on. But you just gotta understand that we're all tied together more than we know. The cosmos are tied together. The micro, the macro, it's all tied together. If you can understand Ant-Man and the Wasp, if you can understand these Marvel movies, you can understand Avatar. You can understand what happened to the indigenous people. You can understand how everything was connected, how it was connected to source. But let's get to it. Naturally colored glass. What are the ingredients of glass? Because that's why they send you to school, to indoctrinate you, so you can't use common sense of your environment. They want to force feed things down you instead of you just going out and use common sense in your own brain and understanding in the Most High. You can get it. But glass, what are the ingredients of glass? Silica, soda, lime, and other impurities. Beach sand, the main ingredient in glass, contains silica and lime. The latter component coming from crushed shells. Glass is made from silicon, which is the second most common element in Earth's crust. Actually, silicon is not found in its pure element form in nature, but rather in various chemical compounds, the most common of which is silicon dioxide, also known as silica. What is sand made of? Because you use sand, you can make glass. And you look at those little granules, you can zoom in on it. It looks like little pebbles, but it's super, super small. Most beach sand is made up of quartz, silicon dioxide, natural glass. So you gotta ask yourself, where does all this sand come from that's all over this earthly plane? Are you gonna go with their narrative, or are you gonna start to use your head and go within and overstand the bullshit? It's not hard, people. I've been wanting to make these videos for a while, and it's been hard because trying to speak the truth in a world of lies, you get a lot of pushback, and it's until now when people are starting to wake up, you can start to broaden their horizons and start to have them choose life instead of death and get off this path of death so we can keep going for life. But clearly, put two and two together. So, at one time we had giant trees, like the good book said. Giants, giant everything. The stories are there for a reason. This shit's not bullshit. They want you to think in a limited mind. They want you to use only 10% of your brain. But these are underground giant quartz crystals. These are just the ones they discovered or found. But just imagine all under Earth. Are you picking up when I'm laying down? Yes, we had giant quartz trees, you may say. Sandstone, a classic sedimentary rock composed of sand-side grains of mineral rock or organic material. It kind of looks like your granite, your sandstone, any typical shit, you might build a structure out of. Or let's fast forward back to ancient Egyptians. What did they build with? Sandstone, Sanskrit, hieroglyph. These are messages from our ancestors because they knew it was going to go to a falling state, and at one time it was going to rise. All this is all prophesized. It's just that, I hate to say white race, but whenever they was on that age of discovery and finding themselves, they lacked the melanin to comprehend, or if they did comprehend, they just didn't want the masses to know this knowledge because they wanted to be in power. And that's why you had a world, where, we didn't have, everybody got along, we didn't really see color. Yeah, we had people that worked, but it wasn't like hard indentured slavery like that. But they took it to a whole nother level. But anyway, long story short, get the message. Stop the violence. We're here to love each other. We're all in this together. We need each other to get to the next level. That's the main story. We fell from a state. Instead of keeping each other in this state, put aside the bullshit, because we all want the same things. And let's love each other and get to the next state. Above, not below. Okay, let's keep going. Sandstone. Okay, like I was saying, the ancient Egyptian structures, Sanskrit, language, Latin, all that, hieroglyphs. The Mayans, what do they build out of? Greco-Roman, stone, sandstone, quartz, crystals. Are y'all getting it, people? Are y'all putting two together there? Are y'all starting to see? Now, once you understand that we fell, then you must know that at one time that these buildings were in a different state. So the earth is vibration, sound vibration, frequency, energy, plasma, all of that. Yes, so once you put all that together, then you know that if we fail from a state, Or you have angels, you have light, that's energy, that's spirit, just like your soul, your pure energy that's inside of a physical body. So imagine if you didn't have that physical body. You would be your soul, your light body, your pure spirit, your energy from source. So that's in another dimension whenever it's not trapped inside of a body. Are you putting two and two together? So that's getting back to Christ. We are all gods that have fallen, that we got to get back to. And that's why they give you the keys to how to do that. And this earthly plane is trying to keep you. So no, we got to rise above that. So once you understand that, and you know that these were made in a different dimension, like the crystal palace, the physical of matter, the stages of matter, how glass is made, then as it's coming from the energy form where everything's pure crystal energy and it's losing its vibration, it's falling, it starts to solidify and become stone, rock. The trees, crystal trees, start to come hard. Are you getting it now? Solid building, and then they would sink and be stuck instead of being able to float and be able to move. That's just like you can fly your light body. Whenever out of body experiences, all that stuff is real. That's just your inner self trying to wake you up. And that's what the planets, that's where we at. This planet's in that stage of rising back up, getting back to the God, getting back to the source or creator. But you got to understand that all these, like I said, everything's been prophesied. So they had to leave clues and monuments to help us remember. So that's why you have all these different religions spread out around. The buildings, not the religions, because that's a whole different story. But the buildings, that's why you have all these different buildings. It's the stories of what happens from the fall, what the life was like before the fall. Just like the Bible talks about, the great flood, it was so bad they had to wiping people out. And now that we here, we're supposed to rise and be of God. So God is pure energy, spirit. So are you putting two together? So yes, these buildings were once in the higher realms, fifth, sixth, other dimensions, and then they slowly began to fall, and then they landed in the third. And so when they come across these crystal palaces, that was, somewhat still part of the fourth and fifth dimension, but yet still in the third. You can't leave this shit around. Because like the domes, yeah, those were crystal domes, but they went ahead and completely solidified. So yeah, you can pass that off as all, yeah, these are just stone structures. But these crystal palaces, nah, we gotta get rid of that shit because pretty soon people put two and two together. But like I said, it's the Great Awakening. It's the time of great knowledge and all that. So now are you starting to understand that now? Now, are you understanding how these buildings are so magnificent and how, like, I know me specifically, whenever I build, I don't need pen and paper. Everything's in my mind. I visually built it and then bring it into the creation, bring it into the physical. So I build it in the other dimension, the fourth, sixth dimension, the higher realms, and I work out all the problems. That way, that's why the things that I build usually don't have problems, especially in a work environment or whatever. But yes, it's just that the lower individuals that's stuck on this earthly plane, they still need that instruction and all that stuff. So that's why it's like, when it's like, well, where's all the instruction on how they build this shit? That's why there ain't really no instructions. And then they was like, how you get the aerial views of all this seacoast? It's because you don't understand. You're still thinking in the third dimension, in the micro instead of the macro. You're not understanding of the times. The times before this, they lived a long, long time. Like, it was giants. People could do miraculous things. They didn't have to write down the talk. everything was yes, all that shit was real. All it real, yes. The Hindu mythology. That's where all that ties in because that's really a lot of the story. But they left that we can get a big picture of what happened, be a part of that. But like I was saying, the Tower of Babel, there's your pieces right there. There's your pieces. That's what happens when you try to set your throne higher than God. Your pieces right there. I don't know if they knew that, but that's not just the asteroid belt. You got to understand who you are, where you come from. And ask yourself, why is Venus the hottest planet in the solar system? How can something be not as close to the sun, aka the sun, but yet be the hottest thing in the solar system? Yes, Venus is the hottest planet in our solar system. Venus is the second planet from the sun, but it's still hotter than Mercury. So that's the thing. Even these Freemasons they don't truly understand. They think they know, but they don't really know unless they got the light codes and DNA and they can check their concert records. Me, I just went into the source and asked if I can give you this information. I don't know how much more I can give you, but I haven't asked about that. But they told me I could tell you about the Crystal Palaces, and they told me I could tell you about the Astral Belt. So, love each other. Stop with the violence. We was not made to be slaves. We was supposed to take care of this earth. We take care of the earth, they have to take care of us. But we've fallen so much. We allowed our ego to take over. And they've done nothing but destroy. Killed all the food, people, the air, the water. So, yes. That's why the Bible prophesies they're going to bring destruction with the fire. Because, yes, the planet needs that to bring it, clean all of the shit that they've done polluted to it. To get rid of that so it can. But we'll be okay. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Those who know you will be okay. You'll be okay. The aliens, the angels, you'll be okay. God got you. Most High got you. Everything is real. More than you know. The truth, the stranger. What's that saying? You know that saying. But yeah. Things is, but yeah, here's the Hindu stuff. That was like all that stuff went down. But yeah. Just whenever we start to get out of the matrix, rise above the matrix, starting to discover who you really are. You know, start to see through the lies, see through the bullshit, become the light in the dark. Then, you know, we can begin to shine again. We can bring back that greatness again. You can understand that this place is vast. You know, God's house have many rooms. Many rooms. I got some more deep drop that I'm gonna be dropping later, but I gotta ask. I can let y'all know about these things, cause like I say, we don't need no more riffraff to cause this destruction to happen in the next place. So they gonna be dealt with. So like I said, we preach that message. Connect with Source, Creator, the Most High. Love each other, help out each other. Understand that you're more than what they led you to believe. You're special. You're here for a purpose.